Sponsors for Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation are Podcast Academy Online. Learn to podcast like an adult, built for the busy entrepreneur or the hobbyist. Visit our membership community at podcastacademyonline.com. And Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout, the easiest, best way to promote and track your podcast. Your show could be online, listed in all of the major directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Get your $20 Amazon gift card for signing up. The link is in the show notes. Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode. Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Well, today's guest is an extraordinary woman. As I read through her bio, she is a 30-year Navy vet. Thank you for your service. She is a speaker and author. She's a specialist on resilience, mindset, and communication. Today, we are really going to hone in on resiliency. So help me to welcome Dee Woolridge. Welcome, Dee.
Thank you, Margot. It is a pleasure to be here to with you and with your audience to talk about resilience, because we all need that right now, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That leads me into the very first question so that everybody's clear. What is resilience?
Resilience is the ability to bounce back. So if you don't remember anything else, just think of a rubber ball. Every time you throw that ball down, it's coming back up at you. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't come back, it's not resilient. It has no bounce. It has no comeback. And when we think about our lives, we don't just fall down, we get up. And resilience, you can measure resilience on how quickly you get up, and how you look and act and move when you get up, when you bounce back.
That's saying a lot these days, because a lot of people, I think all of us across the globe, our resilience is being tested. So is it fair to say that it's nothing strange when we fall down and we have to bounce back up? That's normal for everyone. But what isn't normal is in, as you said, how we look and how we get back up. Am I hearing you correctly?
That's correct. Some people are tired. Mm-hmm. You know, they've had it. And I know that when you're going through change, like we're doing right now in this in our current climate, when you don't know what to do, and that's one of the problems with people not knowing how to return to their state, because they don't know what their normal state is anymore. Mm-hmm. So that affects resilience, or that affects how you what you look like when you come back. Like when you were little, did you see those, like, they were like clowns and things that you would punch, the punching bag? Yes. And it would go down and it would come back up? Well, when I was little, I had one and it had a hole in it. So the air in it would only last so long. Mm-hmm. So I could play with it for a good 5 minutes and punch it before all the air was gone out of it. And for many people these days, they're working with a bag, they're working as this punching bag with a hole in it. Like, they're only going to last so long. So you have to figure out how to patch that hole, fill up with more air or more of what we need. And then you just keep going and you can stand strong and stand steady and withstand anything. And that's what we need.
Okay. So rather than push through, push through, push through, that seems to be the noble thing to do. That's what we are expected to do. But I can tell you from firsthand experience that pushing through doesn't work. There comes a time when you have a hole, a
Yeah.
hole in the bucket, you're going to have to
Mhm.
stop and get yourself some help because you are a total wreck. So, Dee, when we're looking at people are being laid off, they're losing their
Mhm.
businesses. We're,
Mhm.
some of us are not afraid of COVID, but we truly respect it. There
Mhm.
are so many cares. The election, every day there's
Mm.
something different that can put a hole in our bucket.
Mhm.
What are some things that we can do so that if we, first of all, let's start out with if we have a hole in our bucket,
Mhm.
what can we do? And then I want you to address how do we stay balanced? How do we
Mhm.
stay where we are able to roll with the punches and the changes that are inevitable?
Those are that's a good question because we're talking about the whole. So whether it's in that punching bag or in that bucket, you are losing power,
Mm-hmm.
energy, resources, time, money. These things are draining through that. So some of the things that you can do to mend that is to assess, to stop and assess what's going on. What am I actually losing? What can I change or get control over? And I'm using quotations when I'm saying control over, because there are some things that you cannot change, like COVID or what's going on in our government. Those some things are just out of your control. So you look at yourself and you go, what can I change about me? The first thing you should do is start filling your cup. And what we do, and especially as women, we give and we give and we give, and we're not giving from a full cup.
Mm.
And what my mentor, Lisa Nichols, said is, we want to fill our cup and then we want it to overflow into the saucer and then serve from the saucer. So that's what we have to do. We have to start taking care of ourselves. So what can you do to first self-care? Even if you are out of a job, what can you do to take care of yourself? What can you do to start? Maybe you now have more time to exercise. You have time to feed yourself better. You have time to meditate, to pray. You have time to take those baths where you are taking care of your skin and your home, your dwelling, where it feels good and the energy is flowing well. So that would be the first thing I say is assess where you are internally so that you're filling your cup, you're filling yourself with this good vibrations, just good vibes, right? So when it comes to time for you to start working again or moving toward or giving, you have something to give because you can't give what you don't have. We've all heard that before, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, so that's one of the first things is do that assessment. And I guess that comes from my military career. We were just like, okay, the first thing we were going to do is assess the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start looking at making new goals to what's current because the old ones may be out of date.
Okay.
And, I've seen that myself with, I'm a speaker. Those events have been canceled. So now
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? So I made an assessment of, okay, how do I pivot into a new role of getting my message out there? How can I still serve clients and event planners in a different way, virtually? Am I set up for those things? So being proactive and moving toward making new goals in a new way that is relevant to your current situation.
Yes. I love what you said about feeling yourself. and serving from the saucer. I'm
Mm,
thinking, there was a woman, Michelle O'Neill, who came on to the show, and she talked about setting boundaries, the importance
mm-hmm,
of setting boundaries. So if we don't assess, set boundaries, take care of ourselves, even in what seems to be a terrible, trying time, we're not going to have anything to give to other people.
mm-hmm.
Do you see what does it? Do you think that it could even go as far as you may to be able to fill your cup again? You may even need some the help of a therapist or something like that. Can we touch on that for a moment?
For sure. That is part of self-care is and why I exist as a what I do is because people are out of their personal resources, so they're looking for a professional to help them get what they want. They don't know how to do it themselves. So definitely reach out to a qualified, I do want to say that, someone who is qualified to help you get the results that you need. Friends are good, but friends don't know always how to help you. They can say, oh girl, stop thinking about that. But it may be something that you really need to work on, because if it's coming up for you, say for example, there's something negative, a negative self-talk keeps coming up, or pattern keeps repeating in your life, your friend may not know how to help you, because it takes a trained, skilled professional to know how to help you break those negative patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, Margot, reach out for professional help, whether that be your clergy, a psychologist, a coach, some kind of therapist. Reach out and get help for sure.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, you spoke of just stopping. You have said you have already, this show is all about not only inspiration, but it's also how to, and you've given us so many things that we can implement today. I just want to throw in the fact you spoke of stopping. And after I quit my corporate job of 26 years, I stopped. I took
Mm-hmm.
a whole year to listen to Margot. And I sought the help of a therapist. And ladies and gentlemen, when you follow through and so that you can have that full cup, then you can run. Everything that Dee Woolridge is stating today, I have lived it. And I got a feeling after 30 years in the military, Dee, you're speaking from a full cup of experience also,
Oh
correct?
my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Margot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After my background, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
take a moment just to say my background has made me this resilient person that I am. First, being the ninth out of 13 children.
Mm.
My mother, God bless her, all 13 children out of her body. And being in a family like that, you had to build some survival skills.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's not resilient, that's not resilient at its core, then I don't know what is. But just to be heard, not to be left out, to be included, and to get your needs met. And you're
Mm-hmm.
competing with 12 other siblings who are trying to get their needs met as well. Next step is going into, college. Anybody's ever been through college, that is a game changer too, especially if you're not prepared, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel I wasn't prepared for college. I thought I was smart and I was just ready for it. But when I got there, not so much. And that, setbacks there, how I was feeling about myself, not so good, like I don't belong here, but persevering through, joining the military and just going through the ranks and dealing with doubt, self-doubt then, because people will look at your rank and assume you know what you're doing.
Mm.
They just look at your rank and you've just been in that rank for 2 weeks. But there's so you got to build skills really fast and pay attention. But you make mistakes. Hopefully you get some good mentors along the way, like I did, and you just keep going. And that's one of the things the military did, was teach me resilience. And through the changes, because every couple of years we were moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
New job, new people, family having to assimilate into new school, new everything, all of that. So it just becomes a way of life. Okay, gotta let go of the old. This is what's happening right now. So you can't keep singing that song. This is the way we used to do it. Or at my old place, I used to do this. And so I'm going to say this out right now to all the people that, that are going through changes right now. You got to let go of the old stuff to open up the door for what's new and beautiful in front of you and start creating that.
Yes, yes. And say that again. So many people need to hear that. Say it one more time. Seriously, if folks don't hear anything else, listen to what Dee just said. Give it to us again, please.
For the people who are going through hard times right now, through the changes right now, you got to let go of the past so it opens up the door for something beautiful and new. You can start creating that new thing right now. Even if you don't know what it is, letting go of the fear of the unknown and step into it as excitement and adventure. You plan what you can, and then you let go of the rest. What you don't know is the God part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. That is so, as Dr. Cheryl Wood says, that is so juicy and so true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I hear what you're saying, and I know that it takes an application of this truth every day. So your book, The Resilient You, Bouncing Back and Winning the Stress Game. Give us some steps. How do we purchase that book and actually apply what you've given to us on a day-to-day basis, lest we slip back to having our cup less than half full?
For sure. Thank you, Margot, for bringing up the book, The Resilient You. I wrote this book for my clients, for my coaching clients that always came to me because of anxiety. And I know look, if I had to write a book about about being resilient to help people with anxiety, millions of Americans are suffering from it. So it's called The Resilient You, Bouncing Back and Winning the Stress Game. You can find it on Amazon, and it just under Resilient You, or you can Google my name, Dee Woolridge, and all the books or all the things that I've written should come up. Okay. Also, today I want to, Margot, for your listeners that are dealing with change and stress and anxiety and need to know how to bring some resilience in their life, I have a free workshop that was born of this book, The Resilient You. So I know people are kind of struggling with money right now. So the workshop is free. And I poured as much of my knowledge into this workshop as I could to help people right now.
Wow. Thank you, Dee. Thank you for bringing that to us, because that's my main concern right through these days, this slice of history, to best help people, because people are suffering. I mean, we hear so much. It's not everybody, but for the most part, even those that aren't saying it, there's a lot of anxiety. You are completely right. Well, I'm looking at the time. Will you just give us, I really am going to put this information, how to reach that free workshop. I'll have that in the show notes. But will that get us on the road so that we can apply, so that we can stay full and free and prosperous? That is going to keep us pretty much on the road when we go through the paces of the workshop.
Yes, it's got lots of tips and techniques, and there's assessments in there where you can actually measure your anxiety level, and it tells you if you're just stressed or if you're in depression. So there's 3 different assessments in this workshop, and in the work it comes with a workbook. So it's good stuff. It's really, really good stuff. And to get it, you can go to workshop.deewoolridge.com. workshop.deewoolridge.com.
Making note of that as you speak. Thank you for your generosity to all of mankind, because this thing of stress and anxiety, it's universal. So we need to, and this, all the commercials say, let's help each other, let's look out for each other.
We have
And
to.
yeah, that's what you're definitely doing. That's why I was so excited about this conversation. I knew that it would be something that would really hit home for people. Maybe everybody's not unemployed, but for this is information for the unemployed, the mothers, the fathers. We have so much on our plates pulling at us. It is unreal. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the show notes, I'll have Dee's generous workshop listed, so that go there and become a student, so that you can serve others, your family, yourself, from the saucer, the
From the
wells
saucer.
of yourself. Wow, that is amazing.
From the saucer.
From the saucer. And when you see that going in, it's kind of like a tsunami. When you see it, the reservoir getting kind of low, hey, run to Dee Woolridge and say, "Oh, I'm getting kind of low. Saucer is getting kind of low. Help!" I'm laughing, but I'm really serious, because Dee, I have been there, and it is an amazingly scary place to operate from, a really, really place of being tired and low energy. You spoke of energy. We have to keep our energy up. We have to stay bright as we can these days, because we are going to come out of this. Do you agree?
We are for sure going to come out of it. I think it's going to not look like it used to be, though. So I want to add to people to accept change, accept the change,
yes,
and then maintain a hopeful outlook.
Yes. For the listeners that believe in God, or Christian as such as myself, hey, hope thou in God. You have to. We can't let this stuff just destroy us. It's unusual, all the stuff that's bombarding us. So we just, as Dee said, what we can control, we can control. We can control our self-care. We can control how much energy we are expelling on fear and doubt and worry. We can control that. So hope in God.
Hope in God.
That's it.
That's it.
Because it looks like life is on a slippery slope. and we even have to laugh about it. If we just don't have a good old belly laugh, what can we do? So
it's faith, Margot. It's that adventure part. It's like you said it. It was faith in God.
Yes.
Faith in God. If you worry, then you don't have faith.
Bottom line, that's it. To make these changes that Dee says that we can make, and we can be resilient. We can be like that toy that you would punch with all your might, because that's how life does. Or we had one too, Dee, and we would just tear into it and just we tackle it, and it would bounce right on back up.
Yeah.
But
with a smile. It had a smile.
You were so right. With a smile, and be right back in your face again, which is how life is treating all of us. And it's going to continue to treat us that way. So we have to go ahead and get into Dee's workshop. We have to make sure that we purchase her book, so that we can continue to serve, because Dee, I know that you find this to be true, and I'm looking at the time. I'm going to wrap this up. I know you're finding this to be true. People are watching you. How you are reacting with resilience. People are watching you. And for many people, just that one person can be their guiding light. So if you're that one person, be that, be that.
Be that.
Okay.
Amen.
One final word from you, dear lady, and we're going to close this wagon train down.
I just wanted to say that I'm just spreading love and joy. And then with that, all things are possible. If you pray just really get into it. Feel what you're saying.
Yes.
Feel it and know that you are not alone.
Yes.
That everything is in divine order.
Yes.
Those are my final words.
And words to live by. You have given us so much, Dee Woolridge. I thank you. Once again, I thank you for serving our country. It's not something that I did, nor did I want to do, in all honesty. I just didn't feel like I was cut from that cloth. So we need, I honor you and I thank you. And thank you for being a guest here, coming and pouring out your generosity of your workshop. I thank you. I thank you immensely. So
it's been my pleasure, Margot, to have me here. You keep doing what you're doing. I respect what you're doing, and I love how you're showing up for people. I love it.
Thank you, Dee. I'm gonna have to stay in contact with you, really, because the work that you're doing, it's very necessary. And as we move along in time, I'd like to get your input on what you're finding. Here we are, the 7th month of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to look like in the fall? If the flu season hits, if we actually go into a depression, a recession,
Mm-hmm.
which many people predict that we're already there. I just would like to check back with you on your temperature and what you're finding as a professional, how we're doing with everything. So I'll be in contact with you. We'll have a conversation about that, just charting the steps of mankind and shedding some more light, okay?
Let's do it, for sure.
All right.
Thank you, Margot.
Oh, thank you. Well, as I always say, everybody, you're going to have to listen more than one time. So another great episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. I'm Margot Labette, and I will be back next week with a brand new show. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye now. I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.